I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
So. Oh, das ist ja fies. Also gehe ich jetzt recht in der Annahme, dass man eigentlich so quasi dann die Mutter in bereits bekannte Fakten.
The facts we already know about?
Elizabeth Adams was killed last night, but Piaggi was with home and I until late at night. As for Bonaparte and Washington, they left us after midnight, both tired.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
Ja, das glaube ich nämlich auch, dass es eigentlich die Mutter war.
From what I've found out, I believe that my mother is the culprit. Even though I find it hard to accept.
Sarah? But why her?
I found a piece of fabric that appears to have belonged to her and proves she was present at the scene of the crime.
Interesting. Anything else?
I found out that there was a long history between Elizabeth and my mother. She had been her personal doctor and had tortured her throughout her childhood.
And so she could have tried to silence Elizabeth so the truth wouldn't get out and damage her reputation. Well, it's possible. Have you anything else?
I think that there is more than enough evidence here.
Indeed, it's very worrying. Everything seems to indicate that your mother is responsible for Elizabeth's murder. Given the distinguished guests and the political issues involved at the conference, I trust you'll leave me to conclude the case in my own way.
Now that we've examined the question from all sides, maybe you could explain to me why you asked me here, my lord.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
Okay. Stelle Lord Mortimer deine Fragen. Boah.
She seems to be making every effort to steer clear of your guests.
What do you mean?
For the past few weeks, my mother's been playing cat and mouse, if you will. I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that she's trying to avoid someone. The question is, who?
And in your opinion, would she be the cat or the mouse?
Ich glaube, sie ist die Katze.
Knowing my mother, she would be the cat.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far. Yet he told me that you had spoken and that you hadn't been able to reach an understanding.
That's putting it mildly. Monsieur Bonaparte is one of those guys who only understands people who think like he does.
Ah, I see what you mean. He is indeed rather inflexible when it comes to certain subjects. But I am still of the opinion that you can manage to get along.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable.
Okay.
France is in turmoil, and having the support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
Hat sie einen Käufer gesucht?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
Von Borchert.
The dealer was called Von Burchard. As for the buyer, he was unknown to us.
No, I don't know anything about that. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Tja.
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
Tell me about her disappearance.
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
So, dann wollen wir uns doch mal die Abstellkammer angucken, oder? Klingt interessant.
Just opposite Mortimer's study.
Okay, also... Dann müssen... Hä? Geht zum Turmzimmer. Mal hier. Was ist mein Raum? Weiß ich gar nicht. Nee, das ist das Turmzimmer natürlich. So. Wir gucken uns natürlich mal um. Nehmen natürlich ein paar Sächleins mit. No, das hört sich gut an. So, was haben wir denn hier noch weiteres? Da.
What is this disc?
Ich nehme sie mal. Magnetstein. Okay.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your
Dantes
head and be
Paradies.
reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
Great. Honey.
Honig kann man nie genug haben.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be?
Ja, das möchte ich auch mal gerne wissen.
Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Ein Mann mit einem Schwert. So, sie schreibt, wir müssen eine sichtbare Kommunikationsmethode finden. Jemand ist uns auf die Spur gekommen. Haben Sie etwas Vertrauen in meinen Glauben an den Mann mit dem Schwert? An den Mann mit dem Schwert. Es könnte eigentlich natürlich ein Gemälde sein. Es kann natürlich ein Gemälde sein. Muss ich da wieder raus? Nee. Abgeschlossen?
The door appears to be locked on the other side.
Wir öffnen. Ah.
I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor.
Die Scheibe benutzen. Natürlich.
It works.
Geil. Sehr gut.
It's open.
Dann geh durch, mein Freund. Mhm. Meine Güte. Wir nehmen natürlich das. Wenn wir so viel Gelee Royal finden, ne?
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Okay. So, was könnte jetzt... Ein Mann mit dem Schwert. So, Firista. Eine Notiz.
The New Testament.
Paulusbriefe.
This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord.
Okay. Mann mit dem Schwert. Was ist der Mann mit dem Schwert?
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Boah. Na toll. Hä? Ah, sowas ärgert mich, ne? Da.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to.
Ich glaube, wir müssen gleich mal in die Bibel gucken.
Connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Nein. Oh Gott. So, pass auf. Wir machen das mal. Wir gehen mal. Da ist doch irgendwo diese Bibel gewesen, ne? Boah.
But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message.
There are some complications.
Ja, sehr geil.
Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him.
Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Okay, folge den Hinweisen, die deine Mutter in der Bibel versteckt hat. Die schreibt, wir müssen eine sichere Kommunikationsmethode finden. Okay. Paulusbrief für 2.2, Hebräerbrief, Kapitel 6, Vers 8. Es gibt einige in Paulus Verstand. Ich erwarte ihre Bestätigung links von ihm in Gesellschaft der Pilger, die sich ihm angeschlossen haben. Habe ich noch mehr?
How shall not the ministration of the Spirit not be more glorious?
Ich glaube, mehr ist da nicht. Pass auf, ja.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
Okay. So, folge den Hinweisen. Entschuldigung. Folge den Hinweisen, die deine Mutter in der Bibel versteckt hat. Oder muss ich weiter die Bibel blättern? Ich glaube, ich muss die weiterlesen, ne? Oder?
And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.